Internet news with no filter. Welcome to News Sesh. Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're diving into a really important topic. Today we're diving into the world of Ballerina Farm, the Utah-based lifestyle plus farm brand founded by Hannah Neeleman and Daniel Neeleman. They've built a huge following, social media, lifestyle, farm goods, and recently they've rolled out some pretty significant new updates. So let's unpack those updates, the promise behind them, the possible tensions, and what this says about the farm life meets influencer brand era. First off, who are Hannah and Daniel Neeleman, and what is Ballerina Farm? They started around 2017 a property in Utah, a large piece of land, farm animals, garden, kitchen, kids, lifestyle, social media. Their brand is anchored on family, farm life, making from scratch, being connected to food and land. That's the attractive part. Plus, they leveraged social media very effectively. They built an audience who followed not only products, meat, sourdough, home goods, but the story, the daily life, the children, the farm chores, the kitchen, the harvest, the lifestyle. That storytelling angle is a big part of why they've grown so fast. The brand promise: you're not just buying bacon or raw milk, you're buying into a slower, more intentional life. A connection to the land. A rewind from mass industrial food chains. So when they announce big new moves, a farm stand, a flagship store, land annexation, expansion into agritourism, it makes sense. It fits the brand. It fits the promise. But it also raises questions. How scalable is this? How authentic will it remain? Will the story remain the same when the operation scales up? Let's talk specifics. What are the new updates? One farm stand in Utah. They opened their first physical farm stand near their land, a small white shed with a green goose out front, selling raw milk from their dairy, local eggs, seasonal greens, and Ballerina Farm branded products. This is real-world presence beyond the digital store. For followers, this is meaningful, a place you can visit, see the land, buy direct. For the brand, it's tangible proof of we're a real farm. But it also invites scrutiny. Raw milk is regulated, farm stands have to follow health rules, and putting a brand presence in one place changes the dynamic from small family farm to business with location. 2. Flagship store and bakery in Midway, Utah. They are preparing a brick-and-mortar store in Midway with a bakery attached, featuring raw or farm-fresh goods, breads, baked items, and more. This is a major step. Offline retail means higher overhead, more staff, inventory, regulation, customer traffic. It signals that they're not just a niche farm brand, they're scaling. I saw that 3/4 of products will be their own brand, the rest curated from small farms around the world. Interesting, global sourcing for a local farm vibe. 3. Land annexation and agritourism plans. The local town council approved the annexation of 129 acres, including a 14-acre parcel, with a change from agricultural zoning to agricultural tourism. Their dream is to build orchards, barns, dairy production, visitor center, event spaces. Agritourism is hot. People want experiences, not just products. But building experience farms is costly, complex, and hits real-world regulatory, logistic, and labor challenges. 4. Family relocation/education moves. They also made a move. Hannah and Daniel with their 8 children temporarily relocated to Ireland for culinary school training, while keeping their farm operations in Utah. This signals commitment to quality or brand upgrades, culinary school, global exposure, but also raises questions. Who's running the Utah operation full-time? What does this say about their brand versus operational reality? So, why are these updates important? And yes, why are they risky? Let's paint both sides. Importance/potential upsides. Tangibility. Having a physical presence helps solidify brand credibility. People like being at the place. Experience. Farm stand plus store plus bakery plus agritourism let them move from just selling goods into selling lifestyle. Higher margin, deeper engagement. Audience growth. Offline presence attracts locals, tourists, not just online followers. Scaling up. These moves suggest long-term vision, not just social media farm. It says we're building infrastructure. Risks/complications. Authenticity versus scale. The more you scale, the harder it is to keep small farm lifestyle, genuinely small, handled by the family, etc. When you have retail, bakery, dozens of employees, you risk becoming just another business. Regulatory/operational. Raw milk, dairy operations, agritourism zoning. These aren't easy. The land includes wetlands. Environmental approvals slow things. Brand narrative pressure. Followers bought into family farm, handmade, intimate. Now the brand is expanding big. If followers sense a disconnect, backlash can follow. Financial risk. Building stores, agricultural tourism hubs, requiring staff, inventory, commercial leases. These are big investments. If the model doesn't deliver, the narrative risks crash. Content versus reality. The social media lives of these brands are curated. The more scale, the more the behind-the-scenes cost, workforce mess. Discrepancy between ideal and actual may become more visible. Let's talk about how this affects people who follow Ballerina Farm and the community around it. For followers, you get more options, more products, maybe a visit, bakery experience. That's exciting. But you might also feel like what you followed is changing. If you loved the home farm with family of 8 vibe, a commercial storefront might feel less intimate. There's also the marketing side. When a brand expands, you'll likely see more product drops, more buys, more upsell. Fans may feel pressure to keep up. For the local community, commas/midway area. Potential economic boost. Agritourism means visitors, local jobs, business. That can be positive. But also potential stress. Increased traffic, zoning changes, environmental impacts, bigger business in small town contexts. Authenticity question. When a brand moves into a small town with massive following, some locals embrace it. Others may view it as commercialization or outsider influence. For the broader farm plus influencer space, Ballerina Farm is a case study in what happens when Instagram farm meets retail. Others will watch. The expansion may be seen as a template. Use social media to build story, then scale offline. But it also highlights tension, lifestyle branding versus real-world farming. There's conversation around tradwife, homesteading, and whether the brand is inclusive or aspirational in a problematic way. Some backlash has touched that. Alright, full candor. I find this fascinating. I do. Because it's like watching two very different movies at once. One of family working together on land and one of social media brand scaling fast. Both can coexist, but there are friction points. Let's get a little snarky, you asked. On one hand, a small white shed selling raw milk. Very charming. Very come see how we live. On the other hand, a full storefront with bakery and curated global goods. Suddenly you're in brand mode. On one hand, they're chasing simplicity and slow living. On the other, they're building a retail chain, global shipping, multiple ventures. On one hand, we do it ourselves, family, farm, real land. On the other, raw milk, high certification, massive social media following, big investments, dozens of employees. I'm not saying it's bad, far from it. But I am saying, when you build a brand around farm life and family simplicity, scaling up changes the equation. Fans will feel it. Locals will see it. And the story you told from the start has to evolve. The question is, will it evolve well? Or will it lose some of the authenticity that drew people in to begin with? From what I see, they're aware. The move to Ireland for culinary school, the land annexation, the stand opening, these are big wagers. If they succeed, there'll be a new model of lifestyle farm brand hybridity. If they stumble, the story might shift to what happened to that dream farm we followed. Here are some key things I'm watching. You should too if you follow this story. Farm stand and store opening. Will it open as scheduled? Will it carry primarily their own farm goods? Or will it lean heavily on curated/outsourced brands? Are the operations transparent?
Consumer trust will hinge on that.
Agritourism development. The land annexation and proposed visitor experiences are huge. Will they deliver working farm access or become more destination boutique? Real engagement versus Instagram facade will matter. Product authenticity. Will the products continue to emphasize from our land or shift to our brand? With expansion comes supply chain pressures. Will raw milk, meat, produce remain local or outsourced?
Content versus reality.
The daily social content will show one version. The behind the scenes will tell another. Will followers keep buying the story? Or will fatigue set in? Community impact. How will locals in commas/midway respond? Will the brand integrate or create friction? Success in agritourism tends to require community buy-in. Brand and family balance. With 8 kids, retail stores, agritourism, global following, the family dynamic is the heart of the story. Will the personal story keep pace with the business story? Will the family voices remain central or get overshadowed by the brand? In the end, Ballerina Farm is at a fascinating crossroads. They've grown from a social media farm story into a serious business with physical presence and big ambitions. That evolution is exciting, bold, and a little risky. Because the moment you trade a small shed in the field for storefront on Main Street, the brand changes. The audience expectations change. Your story has to adjust. If they succeed, great. They'll show how a farm, family, story, and brand can scale in meaningful ways. They'll deliver real food, real experiences, real connection. If they stumble, the story might be less glamorous behind the scenes, costs, logistics, regulatory headaches, brand compromise. The fans who invested in the pure farm life might feel let down. What I'll say is this: I'll keep following. Because I think this story is more than influencer farm. It's a mirror to the larger trend of lifestyle brands merging with real world. And watching how they handle growth, honestly, that will tell us a lot about the authenticity of farm influencer brands. And that's a wrap, guys. Like if you did, subscribe for more fun.
See ya.